So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go with the major semi-final. They've played twice this year, as I told you. Canterbury won the first encounter by 2, Parramatta the second by 1. The ball is played by Growth, and Edge goes away to the blind. 16 is Batiste. Big day for Paul Langmack. Peter Wynn hits it up on the blind. Kelly is the front row forward for Canterbury, playing in 11 as Sterling kicks to get it out of there. Potter comes racing around. Bounce beats him. Peter Mortimer's got the ball. Tackled by one of his workmates, actually, Steve Ella. They both work for the Rothmans people. Penalty to Canterbury. Parramatta inside the 5. Fairly rare occurrence, really, to see Parramatta get pinched so early in a match. That's something they work on quite deliberately to keep their penalty count down. Tap by Kelly. Now, Ryan has told us that he's got plenty of moves that he hasn't shown us yet. We'll keep our eyes open for them too. Ball played by Andrew Farah, just beyond the Parramatta 22 line. It's gone through Steve Mortimer. Out now to the number 9. That's Folks. And as we welcome in Bill Anderson, how do you see it going?
Well, I think Warren Ryan might have a lot of moves up his sleeve, but I don't know that he'll use them in this first half.
Hold the phone. The first bomb, beautifully taken by Taylor. Taylor takes a Mortimer bomb magnificently.
Yes, as I was saying, we can see the replay of that one. Paul Taylor got well up off the ground and made a tremendous take and stopped Parramatta from being under a lot of pressure. And I'm sure that's where Coach Warren Ryan, the Canterbury Bankstown coach, would like to have them.
So Kelly gets a caution from the referee. John Money, the coach of Parramatta, flanked there by a man called Ken Wilson, who did so well with Newtown and played with the Newtown side in the 81 grand final. And you might have read a lot about Parramatta's ability to block down the St George kicking game last week. Let me tell you, John Money believes very strongly that it was all the work of Ken Wilson. Edge through Taylor. Kenny. Now it's Cronin. Run round. Kenny puts it on the chest of Ella. Ella's in a touch just outside the 22.
I don't expect Canterbury Bankstown to open up very much in this first half. I think they'll play a tight, tough, aggressive first half, but in the second half they should bring...
Mortimer feeds it. Clean scrum. Oh! Beautiful bust made by Canterbury. Farah flicked the balls around. Oh, Price has cleaned up the scraps. Price has come up with the ball. They'll stretch it, Parramatta, pretty quickly. You watch Peter Wynn here. Want to play the ball very quickly now. Hunt. Phelan hits it up for 1. Batiste low. Langmack high. Edge dummy half. Goes for a scamper. Stephen Edge makes 5. Referee says 4 tackles gone. Tanner is the dummy half. Across for Sterling. Now for Kenny. Kenny has gone through. He's got support. Oh! Growth's got the ball now. And Growth is beautifully taken by O'Brien. I thought they were home, Parramatta. Sterling, up goes the bomb. Canterbury milling around, giving cover. Neil Hunt's in there. It's a try. That's a try for Ray Price. Came off Hunt, back to Price, and Parramatta have scored first. The 4 points goes to Parramatta, scored by Ray Price. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Look at Price, he's well behind the kicker. Neil Hunt, he was first man to the ball. It came back and very much onside was a Ray Price. And Parramatta grabs first points, Billy Anderson.
Well, the split to put Parramatta in this position was made by Brett Kenny. From the next play, the ball, Peter Sterling put the bomb up, and Peter Mortimer knocked the ball in the wrong direction. He tried to push it dead in goal. Instead of that, it went back into the in-goal area, and Canterbury have come up with a try.
You reckon Peter Mortimer touched the Bill or Neil Hunt?
Well, I thought he got a handle it, Mortimer.
Well, Ray Price has picked up the 4 points, and it's been converted by Michael Cronin. Langmack plays it now. Lamb runs with it from dummy half, gets rid of Price. That's a good trick. Here's Bugden. I reckon Bugden played against them, didn't he, in the 81 grand final?
No, he wasn't in that side.
All right, thank you. 5 tackles gone. Here comes the bomb from the dummy half, Mortimer. Good kick. Hunt's underneath it. It's gone over the touch in goal. I think he's ruled it came off Hunt. It'll be a line dropout. Here's Ella now with the dropout. It's not a bad drop kick, you know, for a rugby league player. I often say it, but some of those fellas south of the border to think that they're God Almighty when it comes to drop kicks and what have you. They should come and have a look at some of these blokes. They can kick a ball, you know.
The little kick that Steve Mortimer just put over the top for his winger was one of the variations that can be used of the bomb, but I think one of the other kick variations that Canterbury have got, and I expect them to use this game, is Terry Lamb. He uses a little grubber kick in behind the defensive line when he gets within striking distance of the try line, and we can watch for that as the game unfolds.
So Tunks is tackled now. Players about 20 metres out from the Parramatta line through Mortimer. It's gone to Lamb. Hello, Billy. You've done it again. They might score. No, oh dear. That's an enormous decision for the touch judge to have to make. I would have almost been prepared to bet that the Canterbury player got this back into the field of play. Watch it now. No, he's ruled that Peter Mortimer was out of the fight. There's got to be a gap there shortly. They hit that hole behind the play the ball 3 times. Here's Batiste now. Canterbury at 10 metres out. 4 tackles gone. Steve Mortimer cuts out 1, finds Langmack, turns it inside. Terry Lamb gets a pass away. That's a try. That's a try to Michael Potter. Referee Greg McCallum gives it. Michael Potter scoring for the Canterbury Bankstown side. Well, they worked for it, and they got it. It was Mortimer who cut out Tunks. Langmack spun it back inside for Lamb. He got away from the tackle from Ella, and he found Potter, and Potter went over the line with Eric Growth hanging on.
Canterbury Bankstown had pressure on here for 3 sets of 6, and finally Parramatta cracked, but it was a beautiful inside ball by Paul Langmack that put the try on. He found Terry Lamb in the little channel on the inside, who then picked up subsequently Michael Potter. Growth hit him, but he was far too close to the line, and in he goes.
So Michael Potter is the try scorer, and what a year it's been for him. Talk about a jack to a king. So Chris Mortimer has got this kick 8 metres in from touch, 23 metres out. Parramatta leads by 6-4. 19 minutes of the match gone. Kick by Chris Mortimer. Looks good in flight, doesn't it? He's got it. Great kick. Tremendous kick by Chris Mortimer. 6 points all the score. NEC big game. Major semi-final. Muggleton is getting ready to go on for Parramatta. Cronin now restarting, sending it down to Stephen Folkes outside the 22 and beyond. He actually crawled for about 5 metres.
He probably could have worked for a penalty then, Stephen Folkes, from the kick-off. The ball was almost out on the full. If he'd have put 1 foot on the touchline and reached in and caught the ball on the full, he would have got a penalty from halfway.
Tunks is tackled now, just short of the halfway. Muggleton's on the sideline, and Warren Ryan is going to counter. He's got Daryl Browman ready. So it would seem that Phelan and Batiste were simply set out there for the first 20 to do their bit. Here's Batiste. Batiste. He's lost the ball. Scrum to go down, 5 metres away from the Parramatta line. Replacements go on, Daryl Browman and John Muggleton. It's like a game of chess, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. I can understand why the two coaches would like the players on that they've sent onto the field, but the two players that are coming off, surprisingly, Produce for Canterbury and Phelan for Parramatta, have been two of the best players on the field for their respective teams.
So Ryan led for a Canterbury hooker, going in with a loose arm and almost sitting on the ground.
There are something like 40 different penalties that a referee could give at any one time from a scrum, and I suppose they must find it hard to decide which one they're going to penalise and which one they're not.
Oh, well, you know, let the viewers tell the story, because the pictures were on the screen. I didn't even say anything. It was pretty obvious what was going on. If that wasn't the first infringement, then I'll eat my hat. Langmack plays the ball. 8 metres his side of the halfway. This is Kelly. Tunks is getting some strapping put on, wrapped around his boot there. Kick and general play looks good from here. Oh, yeah. It's Fettingham taken a divot and gone back infield. Hunt goes across the ground. He gets away from one. He's chased by Chris Mortimer. And Neil Hunter's tackle about 7 metres inside the 22. Played back to Taylor. Spun off to Sterling. Now with Ella. Ella! He's into an opening. Away from another. He's outside the 32-metre line. Penalty to Canterbury. Let's see it. Ella is the man tackled. He's 3 metres out. Just on a bit of an angle, Chris. Slight breeze in his face. He hits it and he's missed it.
I'm sure Paul Taylor was in two minds then whether to try and catch the ball in goal. It would have been a difficult one for him, but he let it go.
6-all. Drop out by Ella. Potter goes back. Sterling's up. Sterling fully aware that you can't give Michael Potter any room to move in. Here's Farah. Tunks. Mortimer. Brownlow. Langmack. Mortimer. Chip over the top. He's leading the race, Mortimer. And it's come down with Paul Taylor. M. Patterson.
I'm sure he'd handle lock forward fairly well.
I reckon he's a better lock than he is a 5/8. Kelly to play the ball now. 12 metres into Parramatta's territory, and Broman gets rid of Muggleton, hands it off to Bugden. Bugden to Mortimer. Mortimer tries to find the hole, but he's tackled there by Peter Wynn. And I'll tell you what, I don't know what his tackle count is, but Peter Wynn already has made a heap of tackles. Here's Tunks crossing the 22. And Canterbury are now able to run the ball to the Parramatta defensive line. It's not as though the defensive line is coming up to meet the attack. Kelly puts up the kick. And, it's a try for sure and for certain. It's a try for Canterbury. Scored by Chris Mortimer. Eric Roth lost it completely. And Chris Mortimer has scored for Canterbury to lead by 10 points to 6. Let's check the line across the ground. It was spun back and up went the kick. The only players I saw that were offside did not include this man, Chris Mortimer, and it's a try.
Well, I don't know if it was a set play by Canterbury for Peter Kelly to kick the ball, but it finally went back to him after 2 passes. We can see here that he puts up the bomb, and it's a spot-on bomb. It went into the far corner of the Sydney Cricket Ground, and at this time of the afternoon, that's the corner where the sun's looking. The Parramatta players lost the ball. Chris Mortimer went up Aussie rule style, came down with it, and that's a great try for Canterbury.
That's the camera angle that's shooting from down on ground level. And Chris Mortimer has kicked 1 from 2. Malcolm Clift, now a selector, former Canterbury coach. And Chris Mortimer has raised the flag, so Canterbury Bankstown are leading Parramatta by 12 points to 6. As we go back to the playing arena now. Parramatta left to right. Sprees, as I told you in the first half, it's not doing very much. It's going across the ground. Cronin to kick off. Down to Michael Potter. Tackle by Mears. Bramman outside the 22. Kelly. Mortimer's over the halfway. Gross going back for it. He'll cover it up. No, he's lost it. Canterbury might score. Referee says play on. Parramatta will come back with a line dropout.
We've seen Mortimer be successful. That sort of a ploy before where he chips over the top, but for mine he should have turned the ball back inside to Folks and then backed him up once again. But I suppose had Canterbury Bankstown come up with a try, then it would have been the greatest move of all time.
Kelly. Shadows getting across the cricket ground. Potter, Peter Mortimer. Taken from him by Kenny, a race for the ball. Parramatta's got it, 20 metres out from the Canterbury line. They'll stretch it, Muggleton. Well, I thought they'd stretch it. That's normally their caper when they get the ball from broken play. Here's Price burrowing through. And this is play on. If Kenny can handle, he can. That's Neil Hunt. They've got 6 more. Gee, he's got great hands, Kenny. Love to show you that again in stop frame, but we really haven't got the time because Parramatta are throwing everything bar their false teeth at Canterbury at the moment. Cronin pops it. It's gone backwards. Canterbury's got it. Penalty to Parramatta. Well, he's ruled that Canterbury were offside. He's obviously ruled that the ball was knocked out of the Parramatta player's grasp by a Canterbury player and then gone to a Canterbury player who was offside. That's the only ruling I can come up with. Cronin's got this kick from right in front. That's the replay of the penalty, or the reason the penalty was brought. Bert Bass left of John Money, Ken Wilson to his right. As Cronin clocks the easiest of goals. And it is 12 points to 8 in favour of Canterbury.
Canterbury 12, Parramatta 8.
So Andrew Farah brings it back. They're big, these boys, but every time I look at those ground level shots, they look like giants. Farah kicks off. They might regret that, Parramatta. They have. Muggleton didn't like the bounce. Price got a mully grubber. And Canterbury comes up with the scrum. 12 metres out from the Parramatta line. Here's a very big push by Parramatta. I think they're going to win it. They have. They've won a scrum against the feed. Neil Hunt spreads the ball to Brett Kenny. Terry Lamb goes up on his opposite number. But Canterbury now have got to hold Parramatta for 5 tackles. As Kenny gets up, there was no marker. He opted not to play it ahead. Hunt tries to step, but he's hit and tackled. Second tackle for Parramatta. They're 18 metres out. Ray Price goes ahead. He's 12 metres out. Third tackle gone for the Eels. Played by Price, passed by Taylor, passed by Sterling, given to Kenny. Kenny dummies inside, and Grace heads for the corner. They won't stop the big man. Oh, yes, they have. He's taken the corner post. Well, they certainly didn't stop him, but the corner post did.
Well, it was a good effort by Steve Mortimer. He came across and bustled Growth into the corner post. It looked like a try for your life. It wasn't to be the case. We can see Mortimer came from directly behind the play the ball and launched himself at Growth, and Growth just touched the corner post before getting the ball down.
Yeah, good ruling by that touch judge. He's given the straight-out penalty.
Yeah, I don't know that they want to kick for goal.
No, I'm not saying they are, but I'm trying to get down to a technical point. He originally gave a differential, didn't he, for offside at the scrum base against Mortimer. But when he came back and gave the penalty the second time, or indicated there was no indication of a differential penalty, would you agree with that?
Certainly.
But you're quite right, they didn't want to take a kick of goal anyway. So we've discussed that. And where is it? It's on the ground. Win. Across. They've only got to stretch the ball and they'll score, but Kenny couldn't get rid of it. He did eventually, but they had to stretch it quick to the left. In fact, I'm not so sure that it's not on still out there. This is Mansfield in 17. Parramatta trailing by 4. Edge passes, finds Wynn. Wynn goes for a gallop. He gets over the top of one. He can see the line. He's 5 metres out, and Steve Mortimer's down injured, and the Parramatta players are very concerned. Let's have a look at it. He went for a tackle on Peter Wynn, as far as I know. This was him trying to make the call. He got a knee in the face.
Yeah, his technique was bad in that tackle. He got his head in front instead of behind, and they're the consequences.
Well, anybody booing Canterbury for go-slow tactics here, if they see that replay later on, they're going to say, gee, I wish I hadn't have done that, because there it is, whooshka. He got his head in front of Peter Wynn's knee, and Peter was travelling at a bit of pace. But at the moment, Steve is in Disneyland. There for a split second, Steve Mortimer was...
Well, they're going to take him from the field. They're calling for a stretcher.
Yeah, they're calling for a stretcher, and the trainer's indicating the head. In other words, he's concussed. Now, what happened? Where do we... There's Warren Ryan with his walkie-talkie.
Michael Hagan's coming onto the field, and I'm sure that he'll go to 5'8", and they'll move Terry Lamb to half.
St John's ambulance fellows are galloping onto the ground.
And also the Canterbury doctor.
One of rugby league's great players is down injured, Steve Mortimer. His brother Peter getting across from out on his flank. Where's Chris? Is he in there over that huddle, or is he standing back?
I'd say he'd been there fairly close.
Yeah, I think you'll find
pretty close family, the Mortimers.
Peter and Chris are both huddled over their older brother. Actually, what Steve did then, I know he's come out of it on the wrong side of the ledger, but he did something similar to what Gary Jack did against Parramatta. You might recall that, who was it, Ella, scored the try?
Well, it's got two disadvantages. One, you take the chance of getting a knee in the head, such as happened to Steve Mortimer on that occasion, but you also can't bring your arm around properly to affect the tackle.
Well, this is not just bad luck, it's a tragedy for Canterbury if Steve Mortimer is out for any great length of time. I'd say he's very badly concussed, Steve. So a penalty goes to Parramatta for feet across in the scrum. And I just get the feeling with 12 minutes of time to go, the Eels are going to snatch this one out of the fire. It's, you know, Inside for Lamb. He's only about 9 metres out from the line. Broman. 4 metres from the line. Folks will score. Folks have scored for Canterbury. The Eels absolutely falling apart there. Canterbury simply but methodically worked it up to the line. And Folks has scored for them. So that has set the seal on this major semi-final.
Well, that was all so easy, but look at the job done by Daryl Broman on the Parramatta marker. Taylor tried to get out there to effect a tackle on Folks, and he just wasn't able to.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying it was a very good tactic by Canterbury Bankstown. They shut the marker out and came up with the try.
Folks scores for Canterbury. 16-8. That's the ball game. Just when it looked like they weren't doing enough really to hold onto their lead and subsequently win. Now they'll win for sure. But the question I think on most people's minds now is, can Canterbury afford another week's rest?
Yes, they could come into the grand final slightly underdone. There's no doubt now that they're going straight into the grand final. And they're going to be playing 2 games in 4 weeks, and I don't know that that's an ideal preparation.
Parramatta, a dejected football team at the moment. Chris Mortimer from the 22 line. There's the kick. He's missed it. $16 points to 8. Let's see if he did go into touch this time. Last time we reckon he did. Tell you what, there's nothing in it, is there?
I think those little breaks that he makes down the sideline, or he has made in the second half, just indicate that Sterling did do the wrong thing in not giving him the ball when he was so close to the try line.
Penalty to Canterbury. Here's the time. Countdown from the crowd. The major semi-final is over. We are simply going to go through the red tape. McCallum says that'll do. The end of the major semi-final sees Canterbury win by 16 points to 8. Potter, Chris Mortimer and Steve Folks scoring their tries. Chris Mortimer kicking 2 goals. And for Parramatta, Ray Price a try and Michael Cronin 2 goals.